field. You know what? That's tough on our fans, tough on our team. You know, we'll only have 4 Saturday games at Cajun Field this year, and believe it or not, here we are going into week 10, and we've only had 2 Saturday games at Cajun Field this year, and we're going in week 10. That's amazing. So, but you know, hopefully in the future we've got that fixed. But only 5 home games, 7 on the road. But luckily, though, the bright spot of that is we've got our next 2 out of 3 at home as we really try to close out the season strong. You know, with everything going on in the conference, we're excited to be in this spot with 3 conference games left, and the conference race to me still up in the air. We've got a chance right now to finish strong and compete to finish either first or second in the Sun Belt Conference. And so it all start with this week with a very explosive New Mexico State team that will be coming in. Doug Martin has done a great job there at New Mexico State, especially what he has done in the last couple of years offensively. He's done a great job of recruiting and developing his quarterback, Tyler Rogers, who's now turned into probably the premier quarterback in this league. He's number 1 in passing in the Sun Belt Conference. Larry Rose, their running back, is number 3 in rushing. And Jaleel Scott is number 3 in receiving. So they've got firepower wherever you look, and that's why they're averaging about 35 points a game and putting up a lot of points every week. So it will be a challenge this Saturday moving forward. They're 4-5 overall, and if you look at their schedule, they very easily could be 8-1, 7-2. They have been highly competitive in the other games. You know, averaging about 460 yards a game offensively. With that, this week, yesterday, Levi checked out good. He will practice tomorrow. We expect him to be 100% for Saturday if everything goes as planned, which is a big boost. Grant still being evaluated today, but we expect him to play and probably be just more of the same than what we've had from him throughout this season. But we got some good news on Levi. So big week, back at home, excited about that. Kids are off today. We report back for practice tomorrow, getting ready for New Mexico State. So any questions?
Coach, where do you see the quarterback position for the rest of the season?
Well, right now, if Levi's healthy, he'll start. If Levi's healthy, he will start. And all indications, like I mentioned, that he will be 100%. I will say this, I was very proud of Jordan. And I mentioned that in the post-game comments. The guy came in, and the reason he performed, I thought, really well is because he practiced really well and kept a great attitude, kept competing, kept working, and that says a lot about that young man.
How healthy is Jordan right now? Is he?
Yeah, Jordan, he's healthy. He looks good. He looks good.
I mean, he's 100% physically? Or?
Yeah, as far as what we know is he is 100%. He definitely looked that way on those two long runs he made. I thought he looked really good. Showed a burst and got the ball in the end zone, so that was a great job on his part.
Coach, you talked about the perspective going into these final 3 games and the lack of home games and the ups and downs of this season. Where do you think your team is in all that?
You know, that's the thing I've mentioned this year. You know, with what this team has overcome, the adversity that they've had to face and the things they've had to go through, man, this team, and that's why it's been one of the funnest years to coach these guys, even though we probably so far have not played or performed as well as we have liked in some games. Some games we played really well. But overall, these guys, man, just like yesterday, they're focused in. They know that we've got an unbelievable opportunity to finish really strong. And you know, like we mentioned, you know, there's an opportunity to finish first or second still in the Sun Belt Conference, but it all begins this week. But those guys are dialed in, they're focused, they got such great attitudes, and they want to be good. And when you got a team that really wants to be good and they've got a desire to win and pull together, then you've got a special group. And these guys are special now, I'm going to tell you. I've been real proud of them.
This New Mexico State, you look at their statistics, they're really good at throwing the ball and stopping the pass.
Yeah.
Not so good at running the ball or stopping the run.
Right.
Is running the ball against them really the whole key to this?
We want to be able to run the football, and that's what we would like to be able to do. But, you know, there's a happy medium too, though. You know, what scares you is they're scoring about 35 points a game, and they've got a quarterback that can air it out. And if it turns into a deal where we've got to keep up, can we keep up being patient running the football too. And in some ways it might be good because you can keep the ball maybe away from them a little bit also. But, you know, we still want to be balanced. We want to be able to run the football, but we'd like to be balanced. And because we feel like we've got some good perimeter players that are making some plays, which we saw at Ole Miss. And so we definitely want to get the ball on the perimeter to those guys too. But I know coming in, we'll have to score points to win this football game. They're scoring on everybody and doing a really good job. So it's going to be a challenge. You know, last week we went into it thinking this may be a one-time thing, and, you know, I have not met with the defensive staff about the personnel yet. We're still right now in the evaluation process of New Mexico State, and that's something we'll probably hash out this afternoon. I would probably see them moving back inside for this game, but they've got some really good weapons on the perimeter also, and their receiver, Larry Rose, out of the backfield, is just another wide receiver. They're going to dump it to him, let him run. He's one of the fastest guys probably in the league. So we're going to have to be really solid all the way around.
New Mexico State doesn't have great defensive statistics, but one thing they've been pretty good at is getting after the quarterback. What have you seen when you look at the film on them that makes them so aggressive and so successful?
Yeah. Well, one thing, they like to bring pressure. They pressured Troy. They got after Troy pretty good. They like to bring pressure, and they're good at that. They've got some picks on the year, too, and so they do a good job. And they have, like you mentioned, gotten some pressure on the quarterback. And I'll say this, our offensive line, I thought our offensive line handled Ole Miss's pressure pretty decently. And gave Levi some time, and Levi was able to create also. But I think our offensive line, like I said, is picking up pressure pretty good. I thought they have protected the passer pretty decently this fall. But nevertheless, they've been good at getting after the quarterback. You're right.
The kicking issues on Saturday, attributed to anything in particular? Or?
No, we met yesterday, and that's the thing. You know, just like with the rest of these, I can't tell Stevie to go work harder. Can't do it. Can't do it. It'd be impossible to work harder. And that's the thing that I'm proud about a lot of our guys. It's not about working harder. This week we've just got to clean some things up, maybe work a little smarter, work a little more situational things. At practice last week, I thought he had one of his best weeks he's had. You know, the guy's kicking well at practice. His kickoffs have been really good. His directional kicks, he's kicking it out of the end zone. You know, he puts a lot of pressure on himself to be perfect. And but a lot of times it's not always the kicker. Sometimes it's the hold and spot and things like that. So we're going to work on the operation part of it this week. We've got to clean that up. You know, we left 5 points on the board, so we should have had 25 total points. And that's big, especially in a game that comes down like this week where it could be a close game. Every point will matter. And so we're going to work on the entire operation, not just the kick, because it wasn't just his swing. His swings were pretty solid. A lot of it was the spot, maybe the hold, some things all together that we've got to improve on.
With Vegas basically having the week off, getting a break at this time of year with all the pounding he takes, I mean, you look at that sort of as a positive.
Yeah, you hope so. You know, last time he had a little time off, he came back and ran really strong. So I'm hoping it'll be the case here. And the guy, you know, I thought he had a really good game 2 weeks ago, and I expect him to pick right back up where he left off. You know, he's that guy that I think he had 90 yards against South Alabama and ran very physical, very tough. And we'll need that because we've got to be able to convert some short yardage plays and continue some drives this week, especially when we get in the red zone.
Coach, in the team's 5 losses, the defense is averaging a little more than 50 points a game in those losses. What do you attribute that to? Is that the level of competition?
I'd say one of them. You know, we picked some good non-conference teams. You know, we picked probably 2 of the best offenses in the nation with Tulsa and Ole Miss. Now, I'm not saying their defenses are the best or their teams were the best, but their offenses, both offenses, are probably 2 of the best in the country. So they put up a lot of points on everybody, and so that sort of skewed a lot of the points. But nevertheless, defensively, we sort of been either hot or cold. We've been really good at times, and then sometimes we hadn't been very good. Another day, I didn't think we was at our best against Ole Miss, even though they had a lot to do with that. They've got probably the best wide receiver core in the SEC, if not one of the best in the country, and that contributes to a lot of that. So I got to give them credit too. But if we can play the way we played, you know, in some of our conference games, this coming up game, then we'll play pretty good. Because there's been times this year we've played pretty dang good defense.
Is there anything schematically you'll do differently in the last 3 games of the season?
No, you know, no, you know, it's not always just schematic. Sometimes it's somebody maybe not doing their job within the schematics, not taking your gap, not taking your third, maybe missing a tackle, some of those things. And so, you know, but there's some things that we can do within our playbook, you know, that we may can use this week based on who you're seeing each week. You know, you don't go into each game with a full gamut of everything. So you sort of pick and choose what you think is going to work and what you think can be effective. But what we've got to do is be able to execute what we have. Just like executing the fake punt the other day. Man, it worked to perfection, but we had one guy not on the line of scrimmage. And so those are the things that, you know, were sort of self-inflicted penalties. Ole Miss did nothing to stop that fake punt. That's what I'm telling their team. They did nothing to stop it. We stopped ourselves. And so we've got to correct those things. If we can do that, then we've got a chance to be a really good team. We just have done too many of the self-inflicting wounds, had too many self-inflicting wounds this year to have that great season. And if we can correct some things, we can still finish with a good season. No, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's back for the whole game. It happened in the first half. Yeah. So it happened in the first half. He misses the second half of this past game. So he will be back. That's a big plus because, you know, with him being out after play 7, I think he went out 7th play of the game. That was 6 starters we lined up against an SEC team without. So 6 starters is a tough sledding uphill with Chase. And obviously Chase is going to have surgery this week. He'll have surgery tomorrow. And should expect a full recovery and should have him back for January workouts when we get started in January.
How do you see the conference race right now at this point?
Yeah, I think it's really tight. This conference this year has been really competitive from top down. And if you look at the games coming up, you know, you've got Arkansas State this week's got to go on the road to play Monroe. And Monroe has had a really good season. And then Troy still got to go to Arkansas State. And so there's a lot that can happen still left. And we go to App, and App's got a loss. And so, you know, we can control our own destiny in a lot of ways. We just need a little bit of help from a few other teams. So it'll be an interesting next 3 weeks, but it'll all start with this week. And, you know, we're 3-2 in the conference and at this moment. And so hopefully we can have a great week of practice and be ready for an outstanding New Mexico State team. Yeah, go ahead.
If you wouldn't mind just elaborating again on when healthy, Levi, what has he shown you so far this year to take off that red shirt?
Well, one, I think everybody saw a couple of things. One is, you know, you see him pass, you see him run, but the thing that stands out is his poise. You know, you see him sit in the pocket, he's poised. When things aren't there, he's able to decipher, hey, I'm fixing to pull it down, run it for the first, or I'm going to break contain, look downfield, look to extend the play. He extended a lot of plays in the last 2 weeks against South Alabama and Ole Miss to convert some third downs and move the sticks, and he did a really good job there. And so, you know, I think his poise is one of the best things that he has, and he has a very high football IQ, and is working hard as are the rest of our quarterbacks, and that's why they were ready, and that's why Jordan was ready when he was called on, because he works hard too, and he's a really good player also. We're very fortunate to have both of them. You know, they are going to let him practice tomorrow, so if everything goes as planned, he should be available Saturday. So he will get to practice tomorrow in a limited role, and they will progress him each day like they did the rest of them.